Hey there, this is meteorologist Ben Peine here in the Extol Media Studios in Uptown, New Albany. So thanks for tuning in here on this hump day. It is April 9th, 2025, and still plenty to talk about. Today is Crest Day, and tomorrow will be Crest Day. It's kind of a two-day crest with the mighty, mighty Ohio River. So we're going to be checking out those levels, and it looks like it's going to be the highest, surpassing 2018, the highest since 1997, so definitely top 10. If you remember 1 week ago today, we were talking with hydrologist Mike Callahan from the National Weather Service, hydrologist, former hydrologist for a local National Weather Service, and mentioning that this would probably be a top 10 event even before it happened, and that's exactly where we're ending up. Unfortunately, so we are going to be maxing out with the Ohio River levels all along the waterfront, New Albany, Clarksville, Jeff, Louisville, upstream and downstream. It takes a little bit longer for that crest for points downstream, as we saw those river levels yesterday. So we're going to be talking about the flooding again. We're looking at a chance for maybe a couple sprinkles later this afternoon as well. And then some steadier rain moving in during the overnight period tonight. So we'll look at our future radar here in just a moment. I want to thank some of our partners, NWSB, Libs Paving, and also we've got Lions Roofing that is super busy thanks to all of the active weather that we've had, hail and windstorms and tornadoes across the area. If you need some assistance, get a hold of Lions Roofing, Southern Indiana and parts of Metro Louisville and areas to the south as well over Kentucky, and Weddington Custom Homes, who actually made my dream come true in Southern Indiana. Brad Weddington, custom home builder, and built my home, my mom's home, and a bunch of homes around Southern Indiana as well. So thank you all for partnering up, and we're going to be talking about over the next few weeks, maybe ways that you might want to partner up here in Southern Indiana. We've had an amazing response, thousands of views here on our Ben at 10 and on our Extol Weather Facebook page as well. So you're always going to be able to find me here on my Facebook page and on Extol Media YouTube. So thanks for tuning in wherever you might be tuning in. And again, we're going to be talking about some flooding as we get started here, as it is again, the Crest Day. Thanks for tuning in on this Wednesday, April the 9th. We appreciate you guys all joining in, and I was just checking in, making sure everything is good to go on our live stream. So it looks like we are, and I'll be checking the comments, by the way, seeing who's tuning in, and thanks for leaving a comment. Let me know you're on board, whether it's a good morning or a good afternoon if you're watching this a little bit later on today or tonight. And if you have any weather questions, river questions, maybe you've got a travel plan, business or pleasure, maybe you're heading to Florida, wherever, we can pull up a forecast for you as well, do some custom things here from time to time. So we are looking here at some photos that were shared to me from Christopher Ramos, longtime friend on Facebook that likes to share some photos with us. Extol Media, good morning. Here's a look at the very, very high Ohio River. Look at that. River Road, of course, through downtown. The water levels going underneath Interstate 64, lapping up against the Yum Center, the Galt House, Muhammad Ali Center. And it went under I-64, I remember in 2018. A lot of times it'll just kind of cover up the waterfront lawn. It won't go all the way underneath the overpass there and the elevated expressway of Interstate 64. And then there's a kind of a closer look. If you look at the top left, there's the Yum Center, the water coming into the Galt House garages. And there is the beautiful Belle of Louisville. And then if you look at the kind of bottom right corner of your screen, there's the lamp post that you might be familiar with along the walkway where we typically see the Belle of Louisville. And then, oh boy, we were going to have some cleanup after all of this is done. I mean, this could take weeks for, parks along the waterfront. You got Shawnee Golf Course. You've got all the mileage of the waterfront parks in downtown Louisville, New Albany, and around the amphitheater. And so there you can see not only all the driftwood there that's been picked up by the high waters, but it looks like a dumpster, if you look on the right side there, kind of floating against the parking garage. So you never know what kind of treasure you might find along the river once this goes down. But I would advise against hunting for that treasure. If you remember, last week with, again, hydrologist Mike Callahan, who lives in Jeffersonville, that there can be backed up sewage, there can be bacteria that grows. It's definitely probably not the safest stuff to play around with, especially if your kids are out near some of those rivers. Want to keep them away from that just to be safe. Back to the graphics here. So this was from Tess Ryder. Sent from her dad, John Ryder. Thanks for sending this. This is Gutford Road. This is just off Providence Way near Providence High School in Clarksville. And that portion of the road closed as Silver Creek is backing up, thanks, of course, to the Ohio River backing up. So some impacts there along Silver Creek. And if you look at the bottom portion of your screen there, you can also see even some of the debris that some of the smaller river systems and creeks have been kind of picking up as well. So not only do the big local municipalities have to clean up, but maybe just a lot of backyards along some of the riversides as well. We'll end with just kind of a peaceful picture here. I want to thank Joseph Smith for sending in this nice sunset. He's got kind of a park-like area there in the countryside near Salem, Indiana. Thank you, Joseph, for sending that to our Indiana Skies group. And if you want to check out more photos, send more photos, share photos, be part of that group, search Indiana Skies and become a part of that group and participate there. We appreciate your participation with that. So that's kind of the river flooding in a view there. We're going to revisit the river flooding with the current river levels, where they're going to be sitting at, as it is, again, crest day today and tomorrow. Finally, we kind of have flood fatigue across the area. It's going to be heading toward minor flood stage Saturday, and then we're hoping for below flood stage on Sunday. At least with the upper gauge downtown. Again, that will likely take a little bit longer for some areas downstream towards Cannleton and Owensboro. I'm going to go ahead and give you a preview of that forecast. And again, if some folks get on a little bit early, and we'll give you, again, like I said yesterday, the meat and potatoes of the forecast to start off with. And then we'll dig in, we'll get a little weather nerdy in the middle, and then if you're jumping on a little bit later to our Ben at 10 live stream, then we'll do a recap of the forecast as well. So trying to help everybody out, obviously, that's probably why you're here, because of the weather. So for today, we're looking at a high of 60 degrees, knocking off the chill that we had yesterday. It was freezing out there. I was at my daughter's tennis match. When the sun was lowering in the sky a little bit, there was still a little bit of a breeze, and it was cutting through us. So the girls were out there playing some very chilly tennis. Today, not as chilly, but still cool, 60 degrees. You may notice, if you're out early this morning around sunrise, it was perfectly clear, but we've had some mid-level clouds starting to drift in. So we're getting some mid-level moisture ahead of a system that'll give us a sprinkle chance, mainly along and north of Interstate 64 this afternoon. And again, we're going to see this all on our maps here in just a second. And then some steadier rain through the overnight as this little area of low pressure moves through the region. So increasing clouds this afternoon, maybe a sprinkle or two late day into the evening time, a steadier rain overnight. That rain is likely gone before sunrise, leaving most of our Thursday dry. South winds at around 5 to 15, and our sunset at 8:13. So for tonight, showers are going to be likely across the area. South winds will pick up as that area of low pressure is moving through the region. So overnight winds at around 10 to 20 miles per hour. Our low temperature at 50, so no longer having those freeze warnings anymore. It was a bit of a frosty start out there, I know. This morning, had to put the defrost on my car before heading out this morning. Here's the 7-day forecast. So tomorrow we're looking at some milder conditions, getting back to our normal high, which is 68. You can see the normal temps for this time of the year on the bottom left part of your screen. 68 is our normal high. That's our forecast high for tomorrow, so right on par for the course for Thursday, and about a 40% chance of evening, night rain showers, maybe a few thunderstorms as well. Not expecting severe with this. I'm talking about Thursday evening with this next low pressure system. It could give us some brief gusty winds, maybe a little hail out of a couple of those thunderstorms. Again, we'll look at that with our future radar and coming up with the model data in just a moment. So Friday behind that front, we're a little bit cooler again, lower 50s. Maybe a little drizzle early, but trying to knock off that early morning rain chance Friday and just call it dry Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And look at the sunshine that we have in store for Saturday and Sunday, up around 60 Saturday, 68 on Sunday. So phenomenal weekend, and notice that gradual warming trend too. We're still expecting some 70s on Monday. A weak front looks like it'll move in late Monday. That might give us a chance for a few light, spotty rain showers. And then that just knocks us off down to the 60s, so just a touch cooler. So not a strong front next Tuesday and Wednesday. I was looking at the long-range data for the last half of April, and the numbers are looking a bit warmer. It doesn't look, and if we can get more away from that battleground, remember the cold north, warm south, if we get more in that warm zone for the last half of April, maybe things will just kind of settle down and we can enjoy springtime, let things grow, and start mowing. Mowed my yard for the first time yesterday, at least the front half. Didn't have time for the back half, and the back half is a little bit slower growing. Looking at some of the comments, Brenda Sanders, thanks for tuning in here on this Wednesday, jumping on at 10:03. Michael, good morning. You have a wonderful, blessed day as well. Patricia Spriggs, good morning to you. You have a great day today. Patricia, thank you for the shout out to Hannah. I posted Mr. Hyde there at Prosser Business School. At the educational center there. Prosser, amazing. My daughter's had an internship right here at Xtoll Media and has, as I said on my Facebook post yesterday, just grown so much with confidence and communication and all that good stuff. So it's been a great opportunity here. I want to thank Jason Applegate and Angie Fenton here at Xtoll Media for giving her that opportunity since last October, actually. So it's been going on for quite some time. You may have seen her with Hanging with Hannah, and where you can find her at xtollmag.com or on the social media pages as well. All right, so we are moving along here. We're going to get rid of this page right here and pull up the beautiful weather graphics. Before we get to there, you can see just briefly the radar and satellite showing that system off to our northwest. I do want to point out we have dry air from the surface up to the 700 millibar level, which is about 10,000 feet. So kind of the bottom third of our atmosphere that we deal with weather. Mid-level clouds are streaming in above that level, and they're going to be drying out before they hit the ground. So precipitation that dries out before it hits the ground, we call that virga, V-I-R-G-A. You might see that streaking in the sky today. If you look up and you see kind of a smooth cloud, it's actually precipitation, and maybe sometimes kind of a slanted angle, and then it kind of cuts off and it doesn't go much lower. You kind of know it when you see it, kind of a little streak underneath the clouds. That's precipitation falling, drying out before it hits the ground. The radars can pick it up because the radar beam goes up at an angle, and sometimes the radars will show precipitation, but it's actually not hitting the ground. So we're going to have some virga likely out there for today. Just a mini little weather lesson for us with that. So I want to point out to you, can go to xtollmag.weather. I want to go here today because I want to go to our interactive radar. I might stop by here. The Storm Prediction Center also, by the way, just pop this up for tomorrow. Notice has a slight risk of severe storms south of our area. That begins in Tennessee, goes into Mississippi, Alabama, where they may have some hail storms and maybe some isolated damaging wind gusts. Now we have what is called a marginal risk. That's the lowest level, level 1 out of the 5 severe weather risk categories. Not a tornado risk. That's 2% south, the tornado risk of us. And then the wind risk, very, very isolated. We're kind of in that 5% area. And it's the same with hail too. Notice it just nudges into southern Indiana if you look closely there. And we'll revisit that with our weather graphic system here in just a moment. I'm going to go back to xtollmag.com/weather, and you'll see a lot more weather tools there. You've got your Kentucky, Indiana rivers and lake levels, regional radar, and then your interactive radar right here. I'll go ahead and pull this up full screen so you can see it a little bit better. But not only do we have the radar across the area, but what I was liking to look at earlier this morning, we've already jumped up quite a bit. I pulled up these temperatures earlier, and we were right around 32 about an hour or two ago. Some spots maybe dipped, and some of those typical colder spots, low-lying areas outside the city may have touched the upper 20s. But here at 10:14, we've now bumped up to the 40s. That south wind is starting to do its job, and a little sunshine out there too. That will get us about 10 degrees warmer than yesterday, about 8 degrees below normal for this time of the year. You can also pop up the wind direction. So you can see those arrows if you look kind of closely there. So we've shifted the wind. Yesterday, that wind was coming in from the north, and that's why we were chilly. We had Canadian high pressure over us. That's starting to slide off to the east. As high pressure slides off to the east, the wind around high pressure is going in a clockwise flow. And so now we're getting in on the backside of that high pressure and getting that south breeze. That south breeze, again, going to warm us up a little bit, but that's flowing into the area of low pressure. That'll give us a rain chance later tonight especially. Maybe a couple sprinkles ahead of that. So there's the interactive radar. And then, of course, we back up even more. And again, this is a free tool. You can head right to xtolmag.com/weather, and there you can see that rainfall. You can animate it. You can do whatever you want. There's storm tracks, and there's severe thunderstorm warnings, of course, but then there's also other alerts. And all of these alerts that you see, you may be able to guess why. It's because of all the flooding rivers across the area. So wonderful tool if you want to check that out. Again, free, super easy to use and zoom in and zoom out, just like we're doing live right here as well. Just checking in on some more good mornings here. So thanks for watching. Keith Hennessy, neighbor, stop by and cut my grass. I've still got a lot on my plate here, Keith, but have at it. Lily and Lasley, good morning to you. Thanks for tuning in. So we're going to bring back up here the current conditions as far as the radar and satellite. We will go full screen with this, and then we'll get to the river levels after checking in on the future radar and looking at the model data. So as we zoom in a little bit closer, looks like that rain would be kind of steady, right, later on today. But again, I mentioned we've got dry air from the surface up to about 10,000 feet. That's going to eat up some of the precipitation. Occasionally, I think we'll get some sprinkles that make it to the ground, especially along and north of Interstate 64, but not much out of that. That steadier rain is likely going to head our direction late tonight during the overnight period. I would say the best chance for steady rain across the area is going to be from, I would say, 1 a.m. until about 5 a.m. At best, there might be a rumble of thunder, but certainly no severe weather expected out of any of this. All right, let's bring up, as I mentioned, the model data here for you. And we'll take a look at the very light precip, meaning, again, maybe a little drizzle, a couple sprinkles with this later on in the afternoon. And then later on tonight, that steadier rain moving in. I'm going to start with the NAM 3 kilometer. It's one of the higher resolution weather models. And I'm going to just go ahead and jump ahead to later on this afternoon when it starts to move our direction. We'll zoom in a little bit closer. So there you see it out to the west. Might pop in the high resolution rapid refresh weather model as well. So this is at 2 p.m. today, and this is at 3 o'clock today. And so you can see most of this is along and north of Interstate 64. And I think initially a lot of it is going to be evaporating before it hits the ground. So this is at 3 p.m. I do like to draw sometimes, so bear with me. All right, let's move ahead. So we're going to go to 4 o'clock. It's going to look pretty similar with that sprinkle chance for the late afternoon into the evening time. Not much, again, hitting the ground, maybe just a trace. Basically not measurable precipitation through this evening. You're going to start to see that change as we get a little bit deeper into the nighttime. I'm going to go ahead and press this forward until we get to about midnight. We'll make this computer system work a little bit. So it'll take a little while for the lower atmosphere to moisten up a little bit. And then this is midnight. Might start to see like a kind of a steadier light rain touching the ground. But it's really during the wee hours of the nights. A lot of us sleeping through this. And I mentioned yesterday that this is going to be pretty favorable timing for us. And this will not aggravate flooding, by the way. This is going to be probably 1/3 of an inch or less for most spots. Even though you see some red in there, it's going to be very brief as it passes on through. But again, the timing good. A lot of today will be dry, and then most of tomorrow will be dry So we're timing out these rain chances at nighttime, which again, pretty favorable for many of us. So this is at, I'll go ahead and go back to full screen, at 3 a.m. So 3 a.m. we're starting to see the potential of some steadier rain moving into our area. Kind of keep this in mind. We're going to compare and contrast the HRRR and what it thinks about that as too. And let me go ahead and get rid of that telestration. So there's a look at 4 o'clock in the morning and then into 5 o'clock. Brief downpours just pushes through. Again, that is not severe, even though it looks pretty red. So let me bring up the HRRR weather model, and we'll take this. I need to bring up the 48 hour, and we're going to jump this up into the overnight. So bear with me just a second here as we look into the late night hours. And I'm going to start this at 1 a.m. So the last one we just saw was at around 3, 4 o'clock in the morning over us. This one's at 1 o'clock. This one's a little bit more progressive with the system moving through. So this right here is 1 a.m. Kind of liking this solution a little bit better. Maybe it's just because I wanted to get out of here sooner. But this is around 3 o'clock in the morning. There is 4 a.m. So right here is 4 a.m. And notice that is kind of the heaviest period there. During the late overnight hours, anywhere from around maybe 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. Moving ahead, so this is at 5 o'clock in the morning. Southern Indiana looks dry by that time. So before sunrise, southern Indiana drying up, and then that rain moving off to the east. Again, not severe with that. And there you can see by 6, 7 o'clock, even right around or before sunrise, moving out of pretty much all of Kentuckiana. Again, that leaves us dry for tomorrow during the daytime. We're going to look ahead here. I'm going to push this forward into the afternoon tomorrow. So it looks like we're in good shape tomorrow afternoon. Again, if you need to do some yard work, get out and about. And I know we do some consulting with some construction companies, and of course, their jobs are often dependent on the weather and if it's going to rain or not. So it looks like we've got a pretty good work day for tomorrow. All right, so this is now up to 4 p.m. So it's dry enough for long enough. We've still got a south breeze tomorrow. That'll get us into the upper 60s. Should be a pretty pleasant day overall. So, but then as we head towards, let's go late afternoon. This is around 6 p.m. Then we're starting to see a chance for maybe, again, a couple strong thunderstorms moving through with the potential of a little bit of hail and some gusty winds. I think that strong thunderstorm chance is going to be pretty isolated, but this here is at 8 p.m. tomorrow. So again, a lot of the daytime is dry. As we close in on sunset tomorrow, that's when we're going to see the increasing chance of some passing showers and thunderstorms. Low severe weather threat overall for us. Let me take off the telestration there, and then we can back up our view. Again, the Storm Prediction Center calling for that better chance of severe storms, a slight risk farther south. Notice that those storms are looking a little bit bigger and badder over northern Alabama, northern Mississippi, and Tennessee than in our area. All right, so moving back north. Again, this is at 8 p.m. tomorrow. And we'll be getting to the end of the 48-hour high-resolution rapid refresh model here in just a second. So late tonight, that rain chance, and then tomorrow night, the rain chance, leaving most of our daytimes dry. I'm going to go ahead and jump ahead to the very last hour. This takes us to 8 o'clock Friday morning, and how about that? We get the rain out of here right around sunrise Friday, giving us that dry weekend. But also some cooler temperatures as well. Behind that system, we're looking at possibly low temperatures dipping down to, I'd say around 40 degrees, lower 40s here early Friday morning. Again, not freeze watch or freeze warning, not frosty, but it's just going to be a bit cooler as we head into our Friday, lower 40s in the morning, and then heading into the lower 50s. Not much of a warm up with a north breeze behind this system for Friday morning. So that there is Friday at 8 a.m. Let me go ahead and move into the longer range GFS weather model. And we'll go into our Friday afternoon here. So this is 5 p.m. on Friday. And I mentioned this last couple days, a lot of the raw output on the models are a little bit cooler than what we'll see. I would probably tack on about maybe even a little bit more than 5 degrees to those temperatures right there. I kind of want to look at some good news. So let's go ahead and go to Sunday the 13th into the afternoon there. And this is when we should start to see some milder air getting pumped into the region. So it's showing some lower 60s. Again, I would add on at least 5 degrees to that. I think we'll hit the upper 60s on Sunday. Going to go back to the reflectivity. I want to show you finally the last chance of rain within the 7-day forecast. That's going to be heading our direction on Monday as we have a little front that'll be moving into the area. So this here is 13th. We're heading in now to, this is Monday the 14th. So this is, I think we start off dry Monday. I'm just going to back this up. This is 8 a.m. Monday the 14th. This is at 11 a.m. on Monday. And then in the afternoon, notice a couple of these showers starting to pop up into the picture here. So this is a cold front, but it's a pretty weak front that's going to be moving in Monday afternoon, Monday evening, giving us a chance for some spotty rain showers. Now, the weaker the fronts, you don't have as much lift, so we're not talking about widespread showers and thunderstorms. So far, it's looking pretty light with this stuff. A weaker front also brings in a smaller drop in temperatures, so we're talking 70s Monday, and then just kind of falling into the 60s, hopefully next Tuesday and Wednesday. So not a big deal front necessarily here for us as it moves through. Here's 8 p.m. on Monday, so it looks like kind of increasing chances. At the moment, this could change a little bit, but that's your GFS weather model for Monday evening. So again, we got that rain chance tonight, rain chance tomorrow night, and then it looks like late Monday rain chance that we'll see again coming up in the 7-day forecast. This is going into Tuesday morning. It looks like hopefully it'll move out Tuesday and we're back to some dry time. And then hopefully the last half of April will just kind of settle down and trend towards some warmer conditions, which would be very nice. We head further through the Kentucky Derby Festival and close in on May 3rd, I believe, is Derby Day, coming up in just a few weeks. All right, so that is the weather model data. Do want to look at a few comments here before we bring up the river levels, and we'll spend just a little bit of time on those river levels as well, as it is Crest Day in Kentuckiana. Cresting the Ohio River today and tomorrow at levels we haven't seen since 1997. And we'll be able to follow along here if you want to at home at water.noaa.gov. Rich Carlson, longtime Okolona firefighter, captain, the big guy in charge, now helps out down towards Zonton. Thanks for tuning in here. Big volunteer with the Crusade every year. Just an awesome person. Barbara Haas, thanks for tuning in this morning. Wyatt Wright watching. Tim Cron, New Albany Fire Department in the house. Thanks for tuning in. And Meredith Peine, my sister-in-law, no rain, boo, we have baseball. A lot of parents have been saying that for a lot of boos from the parents and the canceled games and makeup games and all that stuff. It happens every year. Unfortunately, spring, not the best necessarily for outdoor sports, as typically fall, we have a lot less delays. Fall, the drier season, but nonetheless, we're trying to get some games in when we can. Okay, bringing back up the river levels here, and you can see red and purple. Those are flood warnings. The purple is major stage, and the red is moderate stage. I'm going to start with the upper gauge of the Ohio River, it is Crest Day. Again, a lot of flood fatigue across the area, especially if you have interests along the Ohio River and the communities that have to deal with that. We're at 36.6 feet right now, and the forecast crest hovers right around 37 feet, right about exactly 37 feet. I'm going to bring up the full page here from water.noaa.gov. And it extends out the forecast a little bit farther when you bring up the full page. So 37 feet is the crest today, and it keeps it right about there into tomorrow afternoon before we finally see that curve taking the downward trend. We like that. We go from moderate flood stage, which is 30 feet, down to minor flood stage Saturday. And then it looks like we'll head from minor flood stage down below flood stage, hopefully by Sunday. So we're looking at improving conditions for the Ohio River, the McAlpin upper gauge. This is at 37 feet. And if we look at the historic crests, so 2018 was the highest since 1997. That was at 35.72. So we're going to go past that. So that's what makes this the highest since 1997. Looks like we go past the 1948 flood, past the 1907 flood, and about a foot or so below 1997. That puts us at number 8 as far as the historic crests on the Ohio River. Quick check of the impacts. We've been mentioning these each day too. At 37 feet, which it'll be just right up to 37 feet. That's when the 6th and 8th Street floodgates are closed. Ollie Center and 2nd Street Bridge floodgates close. But again, it's just barely right up to that stage at 37 feet. 36 feet where we're at now, 11th Street is closed to the floodgates. 34, we've been well past that. Bingham Way is closed to the floodgate. Water floods East Riverside Road near Fisherman's Wharf and Jeff. And all those other areas have already been flooded. All right, we're going to click off the upper gauge and quick check of the lower gauge. Current standing at the lower gauge is at 68 feet, and that's been a good forecast. If you've been paying attention the last couple of days, that was the National Weather Service official forecast, and that looks like we're kind of staying right there or just above it. Looks like the crest is at 68.3 feet. Going to bring up the full page for the lower gauge. And we go up to 68.4 feet. That's the top of the crest later on this evening. Staying in minor or moderate flood stage, I should say, dropping to minor Friday to Saturday, dropping out of minor flood stage hopefully by Sunday. Things will start to improve. So again, we're a little over 68 feet on the lower gauge. We'll see how that compares to the historic crests in the past. It looks like that is very near 11th on the historic side here. That was April 18th, 1948. And 2018 is at 67 feet, so it beats that. So again, surpassing what we had 7 years ago in 2018 and the highest since 1997. So pretty impressive. Unfortunately, again, that does mean quite a bit of cleanup along the Ohio River. Bringing up the cam here from the Falls of the Ohio Foundation. And we're looking at the live picture here. Still some sunshine out there to enjoy. And just look at how swollen this Ohio River is right now, covering up, it seems like half of those trees there along the banks, moving, and you see the trees covered up there on the right side. So appreciate that view from the Falls of the Ohio Foundation. And if you go to their website, there's ways to donate, join. Current river level, top right, shows 68 feet. And just kind of some interesting things with this level chart. This level chart is designed to correlate the river level associated with the fossil beds and the sea level elevations. And so this is at fallsoftheohio.org, and then you can click on the camera there. I just thought that was kind of interesting if you're interested in some of that stuff right there. So again, to recap here, we'll look at the radar and satellite one more time on our graphic system. Bear with me just 1 second here. I'll look at some of the comments as well. And the RadSat should appear right now. So you've got this little system up to the northwest with that sprinkle chance for later this afternoon, especially along and north of Interstate 64. And then we'll have that steadier rain moving in overnight. I would say it's probably going to be wettest 1 a.m. until 4 a.m. during the overnight period. And again, thank you so much for joining us on our Ben at 10 live this morning. We might do kind of an earlier version on Friday, maybe like an 8:30 time period. We might jump in for you early birds on Friday, and hoping to get to my golf weekend this weekend at Salt Creek, which we're going to show some pictures on Friday of that. It was pretty impressive, the Salt Creek, how much it rose and covered up almost the entire front nine, and then the next day went all the way down. Beverly Haggis, thanks for tuning in from Borden, Indiana. Cheryl Russell, thanks for joining us, and thank you so much, Jackie Gordon and Sandy Adams. Without you guys, we couldn't do it, so thank you so much for your viewership watching live. Or, of course, if you're just watching the recorded version a little bit later on this afternoon, feel free to leave a comment. I'm going to be looking over those. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, I'll try to address those as quickly as possible. Or maybe you're after work, just chilling, want to leave a comment and watch some of this. And again, typically with the format that we're doing, we're going to have the forecast up top, maybe share some of your pictures. If you can share those to Indiana Skies, our picture group on Facebook. Again, just search Indiana Skies on Facebook. That'll pop up. Kind of a fun group to share and interact there with Indiana pictures. And I'll share some of those. We'll get to the forecast off the bat. We'll dig in with the weather model data like we're doing here. And then beyond that, we're going to recap the forecast like we're basically doing right now. So I'm going to go back here and bring this off of full screen. I want to show you, as I mentioned a second ago, the storm prediction risk. So for today, there's basically no risk of severe weather. I want to go to day 2, if it'll let me. Let me take this off down here. Oh, there it is. So day 2 is mostly just to our south. Let me take off that telestration. And so the green, I'll put this up full screen for you, is level 1 out of the 5 severe weather risk categories. This is for tomorrow evening, tomorrow night, just to give you an idea of what we're talking about here. So this is the severe weather risk outlook from the Storm Prediction Center out of Norman, Oklahoma. Their one big job is to look across the United States to see where severe weather might occur. That higher risk, again, is for areas off to our south here in the yellow. Because of the potential of some hail and some isolated damaging winds, it's going to be a lower threat for us, but not zero threat. That's tomorrow evening, tomorrow night. A little bit of energy for the potential of some thunderstorms in our area. So keeping a little bit of an eye on that, but it shouldn't be a big deal for us as that moves on through. In fact, I'll bring up real quickly, let me clear the telestration off the map real quick. There we go. Take off the telestration, and then I'm going to bring up the future radar here with, let's go back to the, I like the 48-hour with this, the high resolution rapid refresh weather model. And so this is looking at, I'm going to actually choose the most unstable CAPE. This is the available energy for storms basically to become severe. I'm going to jump ahead to when we have a chance for some showers moving through our area later on tonight. It's not much, but there's just enough energy during our overnight that we might have, again, a clap of thunder might, wrestle you out of bed or wake you up a little bit during the overnight, but don't worry about severe weather for tonight as that moves through. So again, this is called CAPE. It's the fuel that storms use to possibly become strong. Last Wednesday, a week ago, the former head of the National Weather Service, John Gordon, and I talked about this. It's kind of like you hold the beach ball underwater, it shoots up. It's buoyancy, it's instability, unstable air, again, convective available potential energy. So we've got a little bit of that tonight to maybe cause a couple thunderstorms. But that's not why the Storm Prediction Center had us level 1 of 5. We're not under any risk of severe weather from the Storm Prediction Center for tonight. That is for tomorrow night. So I'm going to quickly jump ahead to tomorrow evening here at 6 p.m. So tomorrow we warm up, upper 60s, and notice we start to see some orange and red colors. That's more unstable air. But we've got a cap, we've got a lid holding down the thunderstorm development tomorrow afternoon. It looks like it's tomorrow evening when we'll have a better chance of some of those showers and thunderstorms moving through. So notice, again, we've got more energy for thunderstorms. So that's a decent amount of joules per kilogram, which is the measurement that scientists use for CAPE. So that's the amount of energy. It's a measurement of energy. Force per kilogram is basically what that is. So we've got some of that we've got more of that for tomorrow night. So that could produce a couple strong thunderstorms. No outbreak of severe weather or anything like that, but maybe a hailstorm, maybe an isolated damaging wind gust. Again, that threat is going to be higher for areas off to the south. All right, let me go ahead and clear that out of the way. And I'm going to go ahead and I think we're kind of wrapping up as far as all of our stuff here on the weather graphics. Going to look at our xtolmag.com weather page and clean up that as well. That's the interactive radar, by the way. And that's where you can find our forecast. And I wrote up today's weather story a little bit earlier this morning. I'm going to bring that up full screen as that loads up there. And so the title of today's weather story is Today is Crest Day, the Ohio River cresting now through tomorrow. And then we've got some rain moving in late tonight and also tomorrow night. So we've got the river levels up there. I'll look at some of the futurecast maps that we just covered. And by the way, tonight's rain looks like about less than a half inch. I would say probably most areas less than a quarter of an inch overall. And then depending if you get a thunderstorm or not, it's going to be kind of spotty. It looks like tomorrow evening, tomorrow night, then you might have a little bit more precipitation. We are not worried about making things worse with the flooding with these two next systems passing through pretty quickly. Not enough rain to aggravate the conditions out there. There's today's forecast here on our weather story today, 60 degrees, and our low tonight down to 50 degrees. Increasing clouds, already starting to see some high-level clouds out there filtering out a little bit of that sunshine. And then maybe a sprinkle chance along and north of Interstate 65. And then there is, again, the 7-day forecast. Easy to find here on xtolmag.com/weather. And so we've got tomorrow, 68 degrees. I'm giving it about a 40% chance of some of those spotty showers and thunderstorms tomorrow evening, tomorrow night. Giving us a pretty good amount of time to enjoy actually outside for the day today and tomorrow and beyond. So Friday, cooler behind that front, that cold front that moves through tomorrow night. That puts us down to the lower 50s for Friday and down to 35 Friday night, 60 Saturday, 68 Sunday, lots of sunshine for us. And then as we head into Monday, it looks like we'll have a front move in. That's a weak front with some spotty light rain showers, especially late in the day, Monday evening. It looks kind of like the time frame right now. And then it just drops us off to the 60s next Tuesday and Wednesday. And as it says there at the bottom of today's weather story, have a great Wednesday. And thank you so much for tuning in to our live Ben at 10 today. Just looking over a couple more comments. Sandy Adams, thank you so much for watching here this morning. Deborah Humphrey, good morning to you. And April, and also Kathy Willis. Thanks for all tuning in. And again, I want to thank some of our folks that have been helping us out here as we get started with our Ben at 10. This is our debut week. Been having some fun here. And thanks again for joining us. NWSB, we've got Libs Paving, Lions Roofing, they've been super busy, and Weddington Custom Homes. Shout out to all of our partners. And if you want to partner up, of course, reach out to Xtol. You can go to xtolmag.com, some contacts there. I'm Ben at xtolmagazine.com. And whatever business you might be into, maybe we can help each other out and join up. We've had an amazing turnout with our views here on our weather pages. If you want to watch a recap of this, Xtol Weather on Facebook, head over there, like and follow that page. That's going to be up every day. Of course, the live stream is right here on my page, Meteorologist Ben Peine. and then also Xtol Media on YouTube. Once again, thanks for watching. Hopefully that helped you out, helped you plan ahead. Get out there and enjoy some of that sunshine out there today. And again, thankfully no big outbreaks of severe weather or anything like that. We're at the crest with the Ohio River, and it goes down from there and below flood stage finally by Sunday. All right, 10:45. We've gone on here for 45 minutes on this April 9th. You guys have a great one, and thanks so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow morning on Ben at 10.